right, how is everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a great day. Just a little tidbit I wanted to throw past you today. Um, so 33 and a third, the the Master Mason number, and I think it also shares a common reference with Tesla when he talks about 369. And I've said for a long time that that's probably not just a frequency, right? Even though we think of energy, frequency, and vibration as the main root of everything, right? So, and let's just bring up that Jesus character again. He was a master mason. Say what you want. He was a builder, right? Carpenter, mason, whatever. He was a builder. He was a master mason. 33 and a third. And why do I think that number is important? Same reason that 369 is. Now, there was a switch, between the Gregorian and the Julian calendar. They added a year. They took days off. So basically, right now, we're theoretically, if you go from that understanding, this is still the year 2025. Personally, I think it's a little bit more than that, and this is still the year 2024, but it doesn't matter. We're going to go with 2025. Okay, so 33 and a third. We just had the blood moon, and I discussed the blood moons and how, the again, if you look at history, Abraham Lincoln was shot in the Ford Theater. And anytime there's war going on, look at World War II, you had the Pacific Theater, right? And they call it a theater, wag the dog, right? You had the Pacific Theater and you had the European Theater, okay? So in the book of Revelation, it talks about the beast, and I've said all this. Everything you see around you is the beast system. It isn't a dude. It is, but it's more than that, right? So it talks about the beast returning from a mortal head wound, right? So I think when you look at the Abraham Lincoln, the name returning from a head wound, and in the theater of what's going on, the USS Gerald Ford is there. So basically, the Abraham Lincoln is in the Ford Theater again. But that's irrelevant. Why I'm looking at the numbers is, if you look at 33 and a third, and we had the blood moon, there was a lot of 33s. I think it peaked right at 3:33 a.m., right? So there's your master number again. So if you look at 33 as March, the third month, the third day when that event happened, 0.3, the third, those would be the next set of 3 days of darkness, so to speak. And that's also significant, I believe, with Tesla and 369. Because if you add 3 days to the third, you get 6. Right? 369, 2025, add up to 9. And oddly enough, I did a video way back when this sunspot was facing the Earth, and then and it was 4366, I believe, and now they've changed the name to, it's the exact same sunspot, because its features have changed just a little bit, they redesignated it. Well, that new number adds up to 6. 6 is the number of man, the return of the number of man, and it's currently Earth facing. It is what it is. But I just wanted to throw that tidbit out there about the date, the numbers. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure the one timeline, the loops all ran out, and we're just now dealing with what led up to. Like I said, there's always something, it's always going to play out. Like I said, that we're going to do war, right? And oddly enough, the Ukraine, when I talked about Biden, right, we had Trump, Biden, and then back to Trump. So we reached the end under Enlil, let's say, the robot stage. That was cutting the head off, lack of consciousness. And then so it turned right around and went back to Trump, right? Okay, so that was the completion of one cycle right there, and one of the loops going back the other way. I don't know if there's anything else going on there. Like I said, I've been watching Trump. I think he's given a speech today. But anyway, I think, like I said, we're just dealing with what led up to, and so that goes to the whole blood moon thing that, yeah, it occurred symbolically in the sky. Excuse me. Because it does represent a time stamp, right? Everything's time stamps, whatever. But the simple fact that the blood, the oil, was shut off as soon as the Ayatollah was taken out. And this also goes back to, again, Men in Black 3. I keep bringing it up, right? In that show, they talked about how they made time travel illegal across the universe. So, that's why. Now forget the fact that everybody on the planet's got nuclear weapons, or do they? Right? It is what it is. But that would, personally, I don't think they do. I don't think there's such a thing as a nuclear weapon. Could be, though. I could be wrong there. But, that, that's going after Iran's nuclear facilities when they don't want to is kind of taking away their ability to create another time machine. And it's not just them. That was the point of going into Iraq. They said weapons of mass destruction. We get there. Supposedly there were no weapons of mass destruction. Well, it kind of depends on the subplot to that theater, right? Because one of the subplots to that theater is they were actually going after a Stargate buried in the mountains. Now, I could see that, right? But that's not something they're going to tell you. And the Stargate would signify a weapon of potential mass destruction. Again, it depends on how you use these things. Whether they exist in the future or not, I doubt it. We have our own abilities. It is what it is. So, but I just wanted to throw the 3 days there from the 3rd to the 6th. We have that big sunspot, Earth facing again. It adds up to a 6. So, we'll see. Like always, I just do one day at a time and throw stuff out here on the tube. All right, I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.